How does that
No,
look?
I'm not saying that. You get some sense that there's a handful of stocks.
Look at that. I mean, you could tie that to the market. Bang. We're still in January here, there, Tim, but you got that emerald green going. Like you're ready for March, it appears.
It's not St. Patty's Day. This is actually Camp Daddy shirt. This was the theme shirt of the summer of 21. So Q21. One of these days we'll talk about Camp Daddy, one of the great camps. And as my wife says, it's some of the greatest propaganda of all time. I take my kids around for a couple of days, come up with activities that I want to do. We put them in uniforms. We have a good time. I think they're the two best days of the summer. So my emerald green is not St. Patty's. It's Camp Daddy. So as when you're taking your kids out, if you were taking them on a ride right now, where would you go off and do?
Take them to work. I mean, things got to happen. They got to get out there, make a couple bucks. I mean, we got to pay the rent, brother. So that's where I'm taking my kids. Maybe they'll think it's Camp Daddy, but
Well, when you're doing chores on the weekend, do the kids take part? Because I'm convinced the reason my dad had 5 kids is that he had 4 boys and 1 girl. 4 painters, 4 carpenters, 4 landscapers. Dude, I was pretty nasty with a leaf blower back in the day. Are your kids putting a rake in the hand in the fall and you raking up some piles?
if I were to ask them, they would absolutely help. But it's not like they rise out of their chairs when they see me outside. Sometimes it requires an ask or two. I'm one of these people, like, I shouldn't have. One of my big lines over the years is I shouldn't have to ask, and that's sort of a throwback from when I was raised in like the 1930s. I shouldn't have to ask. You should know, but I digress.
All right. So anyway, and I shouldn't have to ask this question, but do you have a Netflix account?
Of course I do. I love the Netflix. I mean, it's all about Netflix. I mean, it's Netflix. It's everybody else.
I get it, except for the fact that your relationship with leading edge technology is not entirely. In fact, you probably had that shirt you're wearing for the last 25 years. But again, I'd spend too much time making fun of your fashion. So Netflix.
No.
What do you think?
No.
What do you,
look. I love Netflix. Do I have an account? I think so. Listen, clearly I didn't set it up. I think my daughter probably set it up, and it's one of those things when on the off occasion where I want to actually watch something on Netflix, it requires me to yell for her, or if she's not here, if she's at school, I'll have to call her or text her and ask her what the Netflix password is, because invariably if I try to get on, I can't. It asks for a password, then it sends you some code to your phone, and then you just start cursing, which I won't do here on a commercial break.
Well, it's okay, let it out. But the reason you can't get onto the account is because your daughter and 4 of her other friends at Georgetown are using your password. And by the way, if you want, I know what it is too, folks. We can log in and we can do this on Twitter. That may be the magic of Netflix, the accessibility, and almost like they don't care, especially because the more people that watch Netflix, the more people are consuming their content, right? So Netflix, and I believe we're near an important anniversary moment for the company where it really kind of, 2018, the stock went from meandering to through the roof. This is a content play. This is a company that was, to me, a portal and an access point only, using other people's content. And now if you talk to people about Netflix, it's their content they like.
It's interesting you say portal, because I think one of the shows on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken, and if I'm wrong, please
You're not mistaken.
don't at me on Twitter, but Stranger Things. And the beauty of Stranger Things, there's this portal to the underworld, or the down under, or something that they call it. It's a great, great show. I'm waiting for season 4.
Down Under. When I say Down Under, what do you think of?
Well, I think of a couple things. I think of the movie Grease, because obviously I think of Olivia Newton-John, who is from Australia. That's how my mind works. By the way, John Travolta absolutely killed it.
I think of Men at Work. I think Down Under, it was as if we had never seen anything from Australia until Men at Work came, and suddenly we were all talking about Vegemite and sandwiches.
No, I wasn't. They came out, as if memory serves yet again, they came out
81.
during my tenure in college, and that was just a brutal. When I heard that song, all those songs, that the Vegemite and sandwich, I mean, that's just, by definition, you shouldn't be allowed to use that in a song. It's awful. They should go back to Australia.
So we're talking about Down
Netflix.
Under.
We're back to Netflix, because I got
to
Stranger Things, the portal, the under. Please continue.
Is Netflix a portal or a content company? What are they?
Both. I think they're absolutely both. I mean, you can't deny the content portion of what Netflix has done, and that was a criticism for a long time. But I think they've figured it out, and it's absolutely a portal. And I'll give you one more. They've become one of these ubiquitous terms. Like a Band-Aid isn't a Band-Aid; it's an adhesive strip. A
I,
Q-tip isn't a Q-tip; it's a cotton swab.
I
And
right.
Netflix is now, we're going to go watch, we're going to go Netflix and this and that and the other thing. You don't talk about Hulu that way.
I don't even really want to know about, when you Netflix and chill, what that really means. But
I will still watch a show on the night that it's supposed to be out. For example, if the Brady Bunch was out on a Friday night, I'm watching it on Friday night because that's the way I roll.
all right, so who are we watching for the next 5 years in media dominance? Because again, Netflix is a media company, and what we've learned about media, and this isn't a real surprise. Again, what you watched on channels when you watched The Love Boat on Friday night at 8 o'clock, and
Still holds up, by the way. Absolutely still holds up. You can find the Love Boat on Sundays at like 5 o'clock. So if the Giants are getting throttled by then, which typically is the case if they play at 4, you can flip over and catch about a good hour of the Love Boat. Anyway, please
Look,
continue.
I believe that if the Love Boat was still going on, you and I would probably be able to get cameos because it was the place for washed up like B-list actors that always showed up on Love Boat looking for one last spark and romance, and suddenly found themselves in some. All right, so media companies though are not just about content; they're how you get the content, and it took Netflix's leadership to push Disney into streaming, a place that at this point it's with great irony that Disney's multiple, at least as it relates to streaming, is greater. It's a more expensive company than Netflix. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I listen. I think you're right about Disney. Does it make sense? Maybe not necessarily, but I think Disney's getting a lifeline in the form of sports gambling, which is probably another commercial break that we'll do. But the lifeline that created for ESPN cannot be denied or diminished. What I'll say, the most powerful media company that we don't talk about is probably Google, and you know why. I mean, YouTube is how seemingly the entire planet gets their content.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think my kids largely, my son is waving in these videos about somebody watching video games. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and he's 8, so whatever. We're gonna push the little guy around. I think Google is a media company. Social media, you could probably look. Let's be clear. Digital advertising is the name of how you get paid in this world. And your meta buddies sit at the top of the heap there. So social media companies have become mainstream media companies. Old world media companies trying to become transformational, but companies like Netflix at this point is not a new media company, right? And I think what's extraordinary about the rise of Netflix is that at this point, not only is Netflix and chill a term, but when I think about Netflix, I actually think it's about their content, and that to me is content is king. And as much as it's how you get to watch it, I think content is really what keeps guys in place.
Now, our great producers are going to do a drop we call here now shameless plug. So get ready to insert that below. But here's a shameless plug. One of the great media companies of this decade is going to be Reach TV, Tim. And you know why?
Why is that guy Dami?
Well, because we're on every day. You could
What time?
typically catch us at 6 o'clock, but we're at the airports, the lounges at the airports, the bars, the restaurants, the gates. I mean, that's just how it's rolling right now.
Everybody, I'm Tim Seymour. He's Guy Adami. We're commercial break. And why don't you just commercial break and Reach TV and chill?
Later.